Now imagine what you will be able to accomplish if you were indistractable. Your productivity and your focus not being at the mercy of Instagram notifications, WhatsApp messages, TikTok alerts that eventually ends up leading you down a rabbit hole of mindless scrolling. Sometimes you could even find yourself in a really annoying cycle of spending 1 hour of focus, which is eventually diluted by 4 to 5 hours of mindless scrolling on TikTok. But what would happen if you were indistractable? If for some reason you managed to attain the process to develop the ability to create a mental fortress of indestructibility. Now we can both agree that you can quite literally overnight double, quadruple, and dare I say even 10x your current levels of productivity. If you develop this ability, you will be able to turn in assignments weeks before they are even due, leaving you with a lot more time to actually have fun and to really appreciate things that you do in your free time. Now I'm sure you're probably wondering, Bernard, how do I get this ability, this superpower if I may call it? Now that's the whole point of this video. In this video, I'm going through my 5-step process that helps me to attain peak levels of productivity when I really need to be productive. Now this same system helped me while I was in medical school and helps me to learn interesting and fun skills with the free time I have, like coding, playing the guitar, playing the piano, and even learning a new language. Da. Сейчас я могу поговорить по-русски. At the end of this video, I'll share with you a worksheet that actually helps you put this process into practice in your own daily life. Now let's get into the video. Before we are able to attain this level of productivity, you need to enter a state known as deep work. Now this term was actually first coined by a productivity author known as Cal Newport in his book Deep Work. It's quite, now I think about it, the title is actually quite obvious. Now deep work is a state where you are hyper-focused on the activity right in front of you. Now in that mental state, you actually develop the ability to have laser beam focus on whatever is right in front of you. Now most times this state of indistractability occurs when we are in deep work, or you are being chased by a psycho with a machete, or you're forced to be in a situation where you have to speak to your crush. Yeah, really high pressure. Now in real life, hopefully 99.9% of the time, you probably would not find someone with a machete chasing you around wanting to kill you. So we'll just use a much more simpler and really potent system. Now this process involves 5 steps, which includes reflection, scheduling, remodeling, evaluation, and deep rest. Now I'm going to start with the first process, which is reflection. Now in this process, what does reflection really mean? Now this is the process of you defining exactly what you want to achieve from your deep work session. There's a saying that if you do not know where you want to go, any road will take you there. And that could include a road that involves high levels of distractions and a lot of TikTok. Now this reflection stage involves you asking 3 really important questions. Why is the task important? What would success look like? What are my key performance indicators, also known as KPIs, for this task? I'm going to give you an example on how you can actually apply this reflection process into your life. Now take for example, I'm a college student and I have a project that I need to turn in by the end of the week. Now I could start with the first question, why is this task important? Let's assume that this task is important because it carries about 30% of my entire grade for the entire course. Now that's quite a lot of marks to just play with. Now the second question is, what would success look like? Now success in writing this essay or project would actually be 5,000 words of logical statements put together that convey a particular point of view or views that are relevant to that topic. Now the next question, what are my KPIs? Now for something of this nature, your KPI could be your word count and also your ability to read a paragraph and make logical connections to the things that you said before, and also potentially make logical connections to the things that you say after. That could also be another key performance indicator on your coherence in that essay. Now this example, it's actually not just limited to college students. You could also use it in basically anything that requires high levels of focus. It could be learning a new skill, which then leads us to the next step, scheduling. Now that we know exactly what we want from the project, the next step is then for us to create time for that project. Because fact is, we all have busy lives and a lot of things will always rise up to want to contend with your free time. It could be friends, it could be family, it could be assignments, it could even be your girlfriend. But it's our responsibility to prioritize things that are more important to us, that we want to spend our time on with the few hours that we actually do have in a day. Now ideally, deep work sessions typically range from 90 minutes to 4 hours. But if you are new to the whole concept of deep work, I would highly recommend that you start with about 90 minutes, because it's not so much that you have to overstretch compared to 4 hours, and it's actually not so little that you do not give yourself time to enter into that state. It's almost like the same way you would not recommend someone who's going to the gym for the first time to go into the gym and spend about 2 to 4 hours lifting heavy weights. Now, the third step in this process is something called remodeling. Now, what is remodeling? Now, remodeling eventually means tuning your environment to suit the activity that you want to partake in, which is deep work. Now, this involves you turning off all those potential distractions from your phone or from your laptop if you work on your laptop device. Now, sometimes people tend to do this using productivity apps. Like if you're an Android user and you really don't know the feature called the focus mode on your Android device, the feature that you can actually use on your drop-down menu at the top of your screen, and eventually allows you to basically turn off apps that you do not want for that period of time while the focus mode is on. And for iOS and iPhone users, you could actually use a very interesting app known as Freedom app, and which actually does the same thing. Now, the fourth step of this process is evaluation. Now, this is actually where after your deep work session, you sit with yourself and analyze if you were able to meet the targets that you set for yourself in your reflection phase. Now, why this evaluation phase is very important is because you get to ask yourself questions like, what went wrong during this deep work session? Did I underestimate or overestimate the project? What can I do better to improve the deep work session in future? Now, these evaluation sessions are very valuable because you get to actually force yourself to observe and to improve, so you are able to have much more effective and potent deep work sessions in future. And from the words of Socrates, the unexamined life is not worth living. Which then leads us to the fifth step in this process, which is deep rest. Now, this is where you reward yourself for a decent job well done, because not a lot of people have the mental fortitude and willpower to focus on a task for 90 minutes to 4 hours on end. Now, this is where you tell yourself, like, you know what? I actually did a good job here, and I'm going to reward myself by taking a walk in the park, by listening to my favorite podcast or reading my favorite book, or sometimes even watching a movie. Now, that will depend on how long you actually did spend on the deep work session. Personally, what I like to do is that my level of reward is based off of the amount of time I spent in the deep work session. It will be really weird for me to spend just 90 minutes in a deep work session and go watch a movie of 3 hours. Because there's a really popular saying, I don't know if you've heard it too, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Now, personally, I like to say all work and no play makes Jack burn out a whole lot faster. And guys, if you would like to really apply this concept into your life, I have a free worksheet right in the description of this video. If you would like to use my 5-step process of deep work to actually improve your life, because what's the Productivity Center here for? So I'll also love to invite you to join our Productivity Center community, which is actually a community of productive-minded people that want to share ideas to actually live a much more productive and efficient life. And if you vibe with what we stand for in the Productivity Center, you're very much welcome to join our Discord community. And if you would like to see more of content like this, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you will not miss our weekly productivity videos like this. And if you have productivity systems that you use to enter deep work or ideas that you would like us to talk about in this topic, please put it down in the comments below. I would love to see your thoughts. And if you do not have productivity systems at the moment, I would still love to hear from you, to hear your thoughts on what you think about my 5-step process. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you're really going to enjoy this video about 7 things that you can do to improve your life forever. And with that, guys, remember to always keep it real.